Buying a home is a really big thing. For many of us, it may be the biggest financial decision we're ever going to make. Now, getting an architect on board may be really valuable. So how do you go on about it? How do you find that architect? This video is about what I would do. We're all specialists in living. I believe we all have a pretty good sense of space. I mean, we ought to have. We've been doing this for generations now, creating spaces to dwell in. But sometimes we need that pat on the shoulder or that push to get in the right direction or get over that edge. Sometimes we need to get challenged to get out of the box and to start seeing things differently. Sometimes we just need someone to run with it. So why not get an architect on board? Someone to do their magic so that you can get to the place you've been dreaming of. Well, actually, not magic. I don't see an architect as someone working their voodoo magic. I see an architect as being a steward of the build, right from your first meeting till the day you move in. Now, in my world, there are 4 parts to consider. Here's my first. When buying a new build home on a cleared plot, you get all the benefits of not having any surprises. Now, on the other hand, buying an existing home that hasn't been updated for some time can be really tricky business. You want to have a large budget for the update, the alterations, and possibly some additions. Ideally, you want to be left with a sizable equity when the project is completed. Any experienced architect will be able to give you a ballpark figure of the building cost during a house tour, even before you buy. Now that's where I would start. I'd get the architect involved as soon as possible. I often help my clients surveying homes 3 to 4 times before they make a decision and buy. Now the tricky part here is accepting the estimate you get and not falling in love with the house before you get that estimate. If you have a feeling telling you that the estimate is off, then challenge the architect. If you've fallen in love with the house and the estimate just doesn't fit your dreams, then either swallow it or get a second opinion. Knowing where the budget is going to land is crucial to how your next 3 to 5 years are going to land. Will you risk everything, end up eating oatmeal and finally getting divorced? Or will you become that happy family, creating your own traditions? Renovating a home is mostly about bringing it up to date. Perhaps there are some prior alterations that need to be addressed. The electrical system may be completely outdated, still running in cloth wires in steel tubing with way too many outlets per fuse. In such systems, our modern day needs may cause unseen electrical fires in the cavities of dry walls. The water piping too may have been deteriorating for decades, just waiting to blow holes when the workers move out and you move in. So for the architect, a renovation has a lot to do with leaning on the historic styles and stewarding the build through all the technical updates. So I'd expect the architect to be able to identify the cost and plan out the renovation, seeing and registering what style to preserve and build on and what to clear out and not do again. Although the renovation has very little to do with architecture, it has a lot to do with your return on investment, upping the resale value considerably. To me, architecture is about creating spaces. It's about releasing the potential of the house. It's about letting it be the best it can be. This is where the architect has a unique opportunity to create something extraordinary, cutting and carving and molding new spaces. It's also in this part of the project where steel beams and huge unframed windows and top-of-the-line faucets thrive, threatening to blow the budget into an unmanageable size. So how would I choose an architect? Well, I once saw an interview with Philip Stark, and he said, "It's all about being humble," or in French, humble. That stayed with me. Why would he have to be humble? I didn't quite get it until a journalist recently asked me what kind of person I am when you meet me for the first time as a client. I spoke about how I sometimes can hear on that first call that their voices are trembling slightly. Now, you wouldn't understand that unless you imagine the journey that they have been through in order to get to that moment. First, recognizing that they need to do something. Then talking about it, researching it, asking friends and family and Google for advice. Then arguing about it, agreeing on it, arguing again, and then finally deciding to call someone professional. Then reserving a meeting room, taking the time off just before lunch, going into that meeting room to be alone, to make the call, dialing that number, waiting, the phone is ringing, and then when it's picked up, you have to be able to convey that entire journey of maybe years in a few sentences to someone you don't know. Now I understand. It's so important for the architect to be able to listen. It's very humbling to be the receiver of all those expectations. Right from the start, I'd want the architect to shape spaces for how I and my family live and work. I'd focus on the everyday situations and all of the special occasions too. I would do mood boards on situations that I dream of. You know, that idea of the big Italian-like family dinner under the trees in the garden, or that cozy place in the window with a good book and a cup of tea and a fantastic view. Once you get the first sketches, I'd ask the architect to walk you through the considerations, and I'd ask them to prioritize them. Doing that will make you understand the effects that are being used, and you will be able to choose from them, and in that way you can stay on top of the budget. Interior design is a trade of its own. From my experience, interior design is really fantastic when it enhances and coexists with the spaces. If the spaces are not working architecturally, interior design can help tweak the spaces into a much better experience. And as with all things overly exploited, too much interior design can completely kill a space. I believe that well-crafted spaces, architecture, will at any time beat excessive interior design. I believe that interior design in the hands of talent will add layers of beautiful experience to your home. I always recommend working with both an architect and an interior designer. That way you will get the best value for your money. So to sum up, here are my 7 steps. Get the architect on board already when shopping for a new home. Be realistic about the estimate. Get a list of nice to and need tos. Look for an empathic architect. Create mood boards, not of the actual design, but of what it should feel like. Get to know the architectural design elements. Let the interior designer handle the decor and the architect the build. That's it. I hope it gave you some value. See you in the next one.